Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about what Antonio Brown's role will be in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Now, for all of you who know, Antonio Brown is still serving his suspension. He will first be eligible to play in Week 9 versus the Saints. So we're only one game away. After this Giants game, Antonio Brown is ready to go. He will be playing against the Saints if everything holds up in terms of behavioral things and stuff like that. But right now, as it stands, Antonio Brown is getting very, very close to joining the team and getting ready to play some football. So what should we expect from Antonio Brown in his role in the offense? Well, first thing I want to say is it's not a secret. Tom Brady and Antonio Brown have a very strong mutual respect for each other. A lot of you guys have said as such in the comment section. They even went as far as to say that, Tom Brady is the main reason as to why Antonio Brown is on this team in the first place. Now, they did, semi-ask Bruce Arians about this, but Bruce Arians even went as far as to say that Tom had nothing to do with it. It was a decision that Jason Light and himself had been talking about for a couple of weeks. Now, you guys can choose whether or not to believe Bruce Arians or not. I will leave that up to you, but there is still a fact that, yes, Tom Brady and Antonio Brown have a large mutual respect for each other. So I imagine that Antonio Brown is going to be getting a healthy amount of targets. Tom Brady's been throwing the ball a ton this year. He's on pace to throw over 600 passes in the regular season, which is just absolutely insane in my opinion. But there's a lot of mouths to feed on this offensive side of the football. You have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have Scotty Miller, who's been putting up some very good numbers this year. You have Rob Gronkowski among the running backs as well. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, lesean McCoy, among some other pass catchers, Tyler Johnson as well in that wide receiver core. So how many targets should we expect from Antonio Brown a game? And I'm going to be completely honest, guys. I expect him to get, 6-7 targets a game. I don't think that is very crazy to say at all. Even during his one game that he had with the New England Patriots, Tom Brady threw him the ball a healthy amount. And you know what? It worked out pretty darn well for Tom Brady when he was connecting with Antonio Brown. So I expect that pace to really pick back up as soon as he joins the team, getting a healthy amount of targets. I don't know necessarily who he would take targets away from because the ball's been spread out pretty darn evenly throughout the first half of the regular season. Both Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Scotty Miller, and even Rob Gronkowski as late as of well, have all gotten a pretty healthy amount of targets. So if I had to guess, I would say that this might take away some of the targets from Scotty Miller. And that's really the second thing I want to say here is where will Antonio Brown line up on this offense throughout the second half of the season. And I even went as far in conversations with people leading up to this video as to say, would he maybe be the number one wide receiver over a guy like Mike Evans? And I've come to the conclusion personally that that probably won't be the case. If I had to guess, I would say that Mike Evans is going to be the number one wide receiver. Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown, depending on what you want to do there in that play, is going to be the number two wide receiver. And then whichever one is not the number two wide receiver, be it Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown, they will be in the slot receiver role. So you would have Mike Evans at the 1, Chris Godwin or Antonio Brown at the 2, and then whichever one is not the number 2, they're in the slot. I have dubbed this basically the lineup from hell because that's insane. You can't even have a Madden lineup that's that good. And then you factor in Rob Gronkowski and just everything's insane. I mean, that is 4 of some of the best pass catchers you can get in the NFL right now. I would go as far as to say that is the 4 best pass catchers you could get in terms of them being grouped together as one in the NFL. Because when Antonio Brown is on, he is one of the top 3 wide receivers in the entire NFL. When he is fully healthy, when he's, mentally checked in and he's ready to play some football, he's one of the 3 best. Really, the only 2 other guys you could say that for is Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins. Those 3 guys are 3 of the best. And Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, yes, they are up there. In my opinion, Mike Evans a top 5 to 7 wide receiver, Chris Godwin a top 10 to 13 wide receiver, and you just added Antonio Brown, and he's going to be in that lineup with those 2 guys and Rob Gronkowski, who is starting to hit his peak form again, or at least somewhat close to that. So that's pretty darn dangerous. And again, You imagine that Scotty Miller is going to be rotating in a decent amount as well in terms of having another deep threat out there. I'm curious to see who he would rotate in with. It would probably be a little bit of Antonio Brown, a little bit of Chris Godwin, maybe even a little bit of Mike Evans as well. Another thing I'm going to be interested in, and I want your guys' thoughts on this in the comments section below, is what's going to happen with 2 wide receiver sets, right? I would imagine that Mike Evans is still probably going to get the bulk of the playing time in 2 wide receiver sets, but how do you factor in Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Scotty Miller? I know a lot of it would probably be situational dependency, and depending on the situation, you'll put in one guy for a certain type of situation, but that's going to be a really interesting thing to keep an eye on. And again, I do want your thoughts about that, guys, down in the comment section below. What do you think is going to happen in terms of 2 wide receiver sets? Again, I think it's going to be a pretty healthy rotation between all 4 of those guys. I still think Mike Evans would probably get the bulk there because Bruce Arians just loves Mike Evans, but Antonio Brown, he has a lot of love from Tom Brady. Chris Godwin, he has a lot of love from Bruce Arians, and Tom Brady has a lot of love for Scotty Miller as well. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting, the 2-man wide receiver rotations. But in terms of the offense, that's pretty much all I can say in terms of where Antonio Brown will be. I think he's going to get 6 to 7 targets a game. I think he's going to be playing a lot on the outside and in the slot, rotating in and out with Chris Godwin and making some plays wherever he is needed, because Antonio Brown can do it all. One more quick thing I want to say is that I do think Antonio Brown could potentially be used in the return game. Now, I still think that Jadon Mickens has been a very good returner for the Buccaneers this season, and I think he should still be on the team. Yes, it's biased. Yes, I don't care. Get over it. But having potentially, Antonio Brown as the punt returner, and then Jadon Mickens and Antonio Brown both as kick returners, mwah, chef's kiss to that, because that sounds freaking amazing. I would love to see that. I'm sure a lot of you guys would love to see that as well. Antonio Brown, he was a great returner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He can do it. So let's see if the Buccaneers do decide to use him as a returner. When I suggested that to some of my friends, they were kind of surprised, like, whoa, do you really think the Bucs would use him as a returner? And the answer is quite honestly yes, they could afford to do that. They have the depth at wide receiver to where you can just plug Antonio Brown in ways that you think he can be very useful. And I'll say it again, he is useful as an outside wide receiver, he's useful as an inside slot wide receiver, and he is very useful as a returner with Jadon Mickens. So yeah, that's what I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do with Antonio Brown. A lot of outside work, a lot of inside work, 6-7 targets a game, rotating in and out with guys like Scotty Miller and Chris Godwin, mainly Chris Godwin. I imagine those 3 guys, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown, are going to be on the field together a lot, potentially taking away some snaps and some targets from Scotty Miller. And I also think that Antonio Brown could be used a decent amount in the return game as well. But guys, I want your thoughts. Let me know what you think about all of what I just said down in the comment section below. What do you think Antonio Brown's role is going to be in this offense and potentially on special teams as well? Give me your thoughts. But guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.